Good day, everyone, and welcome to the SuperTalk. Excited to be here talking about a very important topic. Today, we'll be talking about vaping and the dangers of, and we're very, very proud that we have some great guests here with us, and also have Mr. Mark May with us, who is our Director for Community Information and the Marketing Department. And again, my name is Jay Gonzalez. I'm Superintendent. But Mark, if you would, tell us who our special guests are.
All right. We have two experts who are here today. Starting on the left, we have Chief Joey Silva, who is our McAllen ISD Chief of Police. He oversees 62 officers who help keep students, staff, and school visitors safe year-round. And he served in law enforcement for 22 years now, became our Chief of Police in 2021. And then on the right is Dr. Federico Vallejo, who is a health intensivist and pulmonologist. He and his team run the Rio Grande Valley Pulmonary and Sleep Institute. He studied medicine in Tamaulipas, Mexico, and served his residency in Baltimore and Massachusetts. And he joins us today from Doctors Hospital at Renaissance in McAllen.
Well, thank you so much. We have a wonderful relationship with DHR. And Dr. Vallejo, I know that you're busy, so we appreciate your time. And thank you for everything you do for our community. As a medical doctor, you have a profound impact on our society. So we congratulate you on all the success, but thank you for everything that you do. And Chief, thank you so much. I know that you have a tough job in working with all of the students across our district and keeping them safe and things of that sort. But today we wanted to talk about vaping in general. We wanted to have two experts in, one that sees things from the law side, and then obviously a medical doctor that sees things from the side of medicine. So Chief, we'll start with your perspective on our district, and currently what systems and processes do we have in place around vaping?
So what we end up having is presentations that our crime prevention officer goes out there and does on a regular basis with regards to the legalities as far as, you know, being 21 and under, being in possession, whether it's THC or whether it's nicotine, the difference between Delta 8 and Delta 9, and we go out there and we try to communicate as far as what health issues may transpire from them using vaping. We give them statistics, we show them pictures. So we go out there and we try to educate them in hopes of keeping them from doing it.
And that's really what we do in McAllen ISD. We take great pride in being a top-notch educational institution. We provide our students with a world-class education, but we want to make sure that we don't only focus on the academic side or the intellectual side. We want to focus on the emotional side and definitely the physical side. So today it's about talking about the dangers of vaping so that moms and dads and uncles and aunts, grandmothers, grandfathers, and all the kids across the community can gain some more knowledge on this. And we're blessed again to have Dr. Vallejo with us. And Doc, what do you see from the healthcare perspective, and what are the potential dangers of vaping?
So first, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be with you guys. And look, in 2019, 2020, it became an apparent significant medical issue because there is this disease entity that is called acute lung injury caused by vaping. Is EVALI. That's how we describe this disease. And what it does in some individuals, it really damages the lungs. It looks very similar to what COVID can do to the lungs. And actually, there's patients that went to lung transplant, young patients, 17, 18, 19-year-old, that end up with lung transplants. In that period of time, there was a study that showed from 2019 to 2020, there were around 2,000 hospitalizations of kids that were having, and adults that were having this trouble, and around 60 deaths. And there have been, as I was telling you, lung transplants because of this. It's extraordinarily rare, or it can happen. And studies show that some components of the vaping were found inside the airway of these individuals. They were doing bronchoscopies. That's when you go down with a camera into your airway, into your lung pipes, basically. And then they steal some fluid, and then they get it back, and they analyze the fluid. And they find two components that were in all these individuals. One was called vitamin E acetate, and two, THC, both found in vaping.
Well, that's good to know, and that's good for our community to know. That's good for moms and dads and kids to know. Here you're hearing from a medical doctor that's saying that it could cause some very serious issues to the lungs. So better to be safe and stay away from vaping. To all the students out there and the moms and the dads, this is one thing that we pride ourselves in doing in McAllen ISD is getting information out to the community that's important. And this one here is tied directly to your health. So to all the students out there that are listening to this, please take Dr. Vallejo's words and process them, so that if you know somebody that's vaping, or if you've been introduced to vaping, and it's just something that you just have to realize that without your health, you have nothing. So we really have to take care of ourselves. So that's something that's important. And on the other end of the spectrum, we also have potential legalities, kids getting caught with vapes in schools. And Chief, what are the consequences if a kid gets caught with a vape pen in a school?
Right. So as far as on the legal standpoint of it can range all the way up to a second-degree felony. And what we try to do is we try to put the message out so that we end up avoiding those types of interactions with the kids, because we don't want it to become criminal. But what we also need them to know as well is that should they be caught, whether it's nicotine or it's THC, you can have anything ranging from a Class C all the way up to a second-degree felony. So it's some pretty serious stuff at the end of the day. And our district attorney, he prosecutes them.
Well, that's another thing to keep in mind, students, as you walk through our schools and as you make decisions with regard to what you know is right and what you know is wrong. You have to know that kids that are caught with vape pens in schools it's not only a violation of Chapter 37 of the Texas Education Code, so you're not only going to receive an administrative consequence, but you're also going to receive potentially a consequence on the legal side, and up to even a felony if it's got certain substances in the vape pen itself. So please take that into consideration as you make your choices and move through life. And Dr. Vallejo, with regard to vaping and the impact on cognitive abilities, physical development, anything that you're seeing?
So this is a gray area, but there's a couple of studies from Rochester that show that it can affect your memory, it can affect your concentration, it can affect your decision-making capacity in kids and in adults. So we need more research to have more information specifically on what cognitive issues you can have, but at least there's a couple of studies that show a correlation.
So if you think about that, and if you think of how important not only your lungs are, which is vaping is going to impact, but also the cognitive ability and the impact on the brain. So those are things that you need to take into consideration, students. And to all the parents out there, please talk to your children about the dangers of vaping. This is a fairly new phenomenon, so there's still a lot of science that needs to go into it. There's a lot that we have to learn as we move further into the future. But we have a medical doctor here that's telling you what he's already seen, and we have the chief of police here that's talking about consequences. So speaking of that, Chief, with regard to what you're seeing from your perspective, what are some warning signs for parents to look for, and what should they do if they suspect their child of vaping? Right.
So one of the key or some of the key things to look for with regards to your child, if you suspect that they may be smoking, whether it's THC or nicotine, you're going to have issues such as dry mouth, irritability. They're going to be a little bit secretive as to what they're doing. You're going to see transactions, maybe if they have a Cash App account, they're using Cash App to do transitions to purchase certain things from individuals. You can go onto certain marketplace, Craigslist and whatnot. There's actually people out there that will take payment that way and meet up with individuals and give it to them. But kind of to what you were mentioning right now, as far as it being a new phenomenon, which is completely true. But one thing to take into consideration is that vaping nicotine is 10 times more addictive than regular nicotine. So it becomes a big issue with the addiction aspect of it. And then with the THC part of it, it doesn't really matter if it's Delta 8 or Delta 9. The 0.03 is irrelevant with our district attorney because he takes all those cases and prosecutes all of them. But so that people understand the dynamic of the science behind some of those or components of some of those chemicals in the actual vapes, is that a lot of that stuff, we don't even know what it is. We don't know what long-term effects it's going to have because, again, it's so new. We don't know. And as things are getting banned by DEA or FDA, they're coming out with new things, right? And they're synthetic. So we don't know basically anything. You know, we don't know the story behind those chemical compounds when they're put together.
So just know, parents, that McAllen ISD is here for you. Should you suspect your child is using substances that are illegal or nicotine or anything that they may be taking part in, just know that you can reach out to McAllen ISD. You can call your administration. You could call the academic counselor. You can call our police department.
Absolutely.
Whatever we can do to help you, because at the end of the day, it's going to take all of us working together to keep our kids safe. And unfortunately, in 2023, there's many more things that they're going to be faced with. There's even just social media and how fast kids are getting information on top of all these new chemicals that are coming through vaping and things of that sort. So we know that moms and dads need our help, and McAllen ISD is here to help you. Dr. Vallejo, long-term effects of vaping, I know it's early on, but what is your professional opinion?
So that's the main problem. It's very early on. We know that there's substances like glycerol and polyethylene glycol that are dangerous, and they are in vaping and e-cigarettes. Look, and we also know that there are studies that show that people that vape, that kids that vape, they end up smoking, okay? And something that I have seen in this discussion that we have about vaping is that we tend to ameliorate or negate or ignore the problems with cigarette smoking, okay? There is a correlation, but as Chief say, absolutely the nicotine in the vaping is an increased amount, so it's more addictive, but cigarettes are way more dangerous, exponentially more dangerous. We always need to tie the discussion of vaping and cigarette smoking. Cigarette smoking is much, much more worse because we know that cigarettes kill. There is no doubt about it. So I hope that we concentrate this effort as much as we're pushing with the vaping and even criminalizing the vaping to the cigarette smoking. Yes, vaping is terrible. And as healthcare professionals, we're always going to say, don't do it. But we cannot negate the fact that cigarettes are worse and more dangerous.
And that's great information. I'm glad that Dr. Vallejo brought that up, because here we are talking about vaping, but when it comes to taking care of your physical health, it's not introducing any foreign chemicals, especially smoke. So cigarette smoking, kids that are out there considering smoking already, you need to stop. Even to the moms and dads and the adults out there, if you're smoking, you're hurting yourself. And we think about the fact that we want to be here for our children. We want to be on this planet as long as we can to enjoy our children, enjoy our families. So we need to start being proactive and taking care of ourselves just as a society. So Dr. Vallejo, Chief, I want to thank you all so much for giving of your time to be with us here on the Super Talk today. Mark, thank you for leading the discussion and making sure that everything was the way it needed to be with our guests. But mainly to all the parents and all the kids out there, I hope that you learned something today, and I hope that this leads to some kind of discussion with your family, a family meeting, or maybe even a discussion with yourself about how you've been maneuvering the world. So to all those that checked out the Super Talk, thank you very much and have a blessed day.